is sanctified. See that? Now, the thought here, we already know what he's talking about, because when it said, for it is sanctified, that means that it is set apart. We already saw when he gave Noah the instruction when putting those animals on that ark. He said, take 7 of the clean. It was already sanctified. It was already set apart. In the laws that Moshe gave, he already told us, these are the animals you can eat, these are the animals you can't eat. It was set apart. It was sanctified by the word. Listen to what it said. Verse 5 again. For it is sanctified by the word of Yah and prayer. You see? But here's the thought with our people. So I get my little ham hocks or my pork chops or my chitlins and hog maws or whatever. And I say a little prayer over it. That's going to make it okay. Not so. Man cannot declare clean what the word has already declared unclean. We cannot do it. So, turn now to another letter written by Brother Shaul, 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 17 and 18, which reads, wherefore come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith Adonai, and touch not the unclean thing. This is the New Testament. Now here's the question. What is the unclean thing? Where do we get that information from? Well, what we do, we go back to the commandments, which is true. We go back to the law, which is true. And that declares what is clean, what is unclean. And we make the separation. Saith Adonai, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. Now we're going to see examples of Israel in their history, our forefathers, who didn't adhere to that, and as a result, it caused them to be cut off. Let's finish this up. Verse 18. And will be a father unto you, and ye shall be my sons and daughters, saith Adonai shall die. Okay? Now in Isaiah, chapter 65, verses 2 through 5, it reads. This is again the Creator talking to Israel again, as he did many times. I have spread out my hands all the day unto a rebellious people, which walketh in a way that was not good, after their own thoughts. Listen to that. How many of us are still doing that at this very moment in time? You are adhering to your own thoughts. Just because you feel this way, just because you believe this way. Think about that. A people that provoketh me to anger continually to my face, that sacrifice in gardens, and burn incense upon altars of brick, which remain among the graves and lodge in the monuments, which eats swine's flesh, and broth of abominable things is in their vessels. Hear that? That's part of the reason why Israel, while they were punished. Now there are several other things that were named, but today we're talking about kashrut, the dietary law. And it has to be emphasized and shown by the word. That's something that our forefathers did to bring upon us our current condition. Which say, stand by thyself, come not near to me, for I am holier than thou. Listen to that. How many Christians out there think they are holier than thou, but yet they soften up that pork? Think about that. How are you going to be holy or sanctified when you're eating something that's unholy and unsanctified? Which say, stand by thyself, come not near to me, for I am holier than thou. These are a smoke in my nose. This is what the Creator said about these people that's like that are a smoke in my nose. Think about smoke going up in your nose and how that makes you feel. He's using a concrete situation that we as human beings, how many of you have been in the barbecue or at the campsite and the fire, the smoke and everything, and you want to get away from it because it affects your breathing fresh air? That's what he's saying. He's using that analogy. It's something we can relate to. It's a stench, in other words, or comparable to. These are a smoke in my nose a fire that burneth all the day. And go to the next chapter of Isaiah 66, beginning at verse 15, which reads, For behold, Yahweh will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will Yahweh plead with all flesh, and the slain of Yahweh shall be many. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh, and the abomination, and the mouse, shall be consumed together, saith Yahweh. For I know their works and their thoughts. It shall come that I will gather all nations and tongues, and they shall come and see my glory. And I will set a sign among them. Now he's talking about those Israelites who are being disobedient at this point. And I will send those that escape of them unto the nations. In other words, those who escape the persecution. Because some of our forefathers did die. As we learned when Moshe and Israel were in the wilderness. Some of them did die for their disobedience. But he says, and I will send those that escape of them unto the nations. Again, what does this mean? And remember this thought for our next lesson. Okay? Well, let's continue. 66:19. Unto the nations, to Tarshish, Pul, and Lud, that draw the bow, to Tubal and Yavan, to the isles afar off, that have not heard my fame, neither have seen my glory. And they shall declare my glory among the Gentiles. Again, this is judgment that's being spoken through Ishayahu. Okay? And this judgment for several infractions of the law, among which breaking the Dietary Law. Okay? Now, when we read all these different things here, does this teach us the seriousness about what we should and what we shouldn't eat? I would hope so. You know, and as another side note, think about some of the things that we find out when we go to the doctor. Okay? Now, how many of you have gotten the, the prognosis, if I'm saying that or using that term correctly? You need to cut out the red meat. Okay? Now, part of that, of course, is because they refer to it as red meat because you're still eating it rare or medium rare, and the blood of the animal is now causing issues with you. He said not to eat the blood. Okay? How many of you went to the doctor and the doctor told you you need to stop eating that pork? It's bringing your cholesterol up. Okay? Think about that. Things that we already know we're not supposed to eat. You go to the doctor and the doctor says you're not supposed to eat or you shouldn't be eating those things. Well, the Creator already let us know what we should and what we shouldn't eat. Maybe, now think about this, another food for thought as well. Maybe that's why we have so much sickness and disease in the world. Because you're eating things that you shouldn't eat. Think about roadkill. We already read that we should not eat any animal that dies of itself. So you see something that's been hit by a car, man up on the side of the road, and you want to go pick it up and take it home and feed it to your family. Not so, saith Yahweh. Not so. But all these things we have to consider when it comes to being sanctified. Okay? He told us to wear 100% material outside of the body, and he gave us specific instruction on what we're supposed to put inside the body, so that we may be a holy people, even as our Almighty One is holy. So, another part in 66:19, I'm going to emphasize this and then I'm done. Being sent unto the nations, being sent to the isles afar off, to declare the glory of the Creator to the Gentiles, is a perfect segue to our next lesson.